Conference muted.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you all for getting on tonight, and want to tell you just how incredibly honored I am to be able to talk about this subject, especially with new coaches. But I'm hoping that it will actually be beneficial for anyone who's working with a new coach, and to remind all of us, coaches who have been around for a little while, that some of the concerns that we run into don't necessarily go away, and that dealing with those concerns is really an important part of our business. So as I was talking through, what exactly I was going to talk about tonight with my husband, he's just a great sounding board for me. Two big things that kept coming up that I remember from when I was a new coach a little over a year ago, and that many people have also talked about, are overwhelm and fear. And I think that, when we feel these things, feeling like we have so much information coming at us as new coaches, and we can become so afraid of not doing something right, or afraid of what other people will think, or not having enough time. I mean, that's a huge one. And a huge fear of failure. And I think the beauty of these kind of what seem like such negative things and negative emotions is we recognize the power and the blessing that this job offers for us. So it's, we've been blessed with such an awesome opportunity, and that can be so frightening. So I'm going to be nerdy for a moment and quote Spider-Man. And in that movie, I think it's the uncle, says something like, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think when we feel so overwhelmed and so fearful in the beginning and, throughout our coaching careers, we recognize the great power and blessing we have to inspire and empower other people to live the life that we're living, to reach their own personal goals. And I want to encourage you, especially new coaches, that to just shift the perspective. We're going to talk a lot about mindset tonight, but to shift your perspective from the get-go, from feeling like you're drowning in information and drowning in materials and new coach emails, new coach workbooks, new coach mentorships, and instead recognize the great value of these things. These are like life rafts. I mean, when I started, and I'll share a little bit about my story kind of as we weave through this mindset stuff, and I'll give you a few kind of walk away very first things to do as a new coach. But to recognize that all of these things are so powerful that we are given. And when I first started as a coach, we didn't have a really structured new coach mentorship group. We didn't have the emails that Sarah has now created. We kind of just ran. We just jumped in with both feet. And I think that a lot of us have learned through failure, and that's okay. I mean, this is a job we learned probably the most from our experiences, and it's okay when we aren't completely perfect. And that's coming from a person who would prefer to do everything perfectly and everything right and be really successful all of the time. So I've learned that it's really okay to not be perfect. So I'm going to give you 4 or 5 big kind of takeaways on mindset, and then, like I said, I'll give you some more concrete ideas to take away from this call. But again, as I was planning out all of the things that I could tell new coaches, my husband said to me, "Isn't this supposed to be about heart?" And I recognize that I can't only read off a piece of paper to you. So that's why I want to tell you a little bit about my story as I go along, and about just having the mindset to start off with, because your sponsor has probably given you, a new coach checklist. You probably, happily drowning in your emails and figuring out what to do. But I think that the place that we need to start from, or the place that I feel it's so important to start from, is intention. And we hear over and over and over again, and if you haven't, you will, that your why should make you cry. And I think that sometimes when we hear something over and over again, and maybe sometimes if it rhymes, the message loses its power. So when people say your why should make you cry, I think that what we all mean is that your intention should be powerful enough and big enough for you and personal enough to get you through the really hard times, because this job is not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. One of my coaches, Danielle, said the other day that as coaches, our two primary goals are to help challengers and to build our teams. And each of us has our own unique way of getting there. But those, if you can kind of focus that those are your two external goals, everything else can flow from there. And if your intention can be rooted in every single thing that you do, that will just help you stay very grounded and not feel like you are, drowning in the beginning or hopefully ever. So my intention starting out, like I said, I became a coach about 6 weeks after the birth of Fit Forward, and I was just finishing up grad school. I had been living in Chicago before moving to where I live now in Colorado, and I had this great fitness business. I had gotten tired of working for other people, so I had like outdoor boot camp and yoga classes, and I personal trained, and it was a successful business, but I felt like I was lacking heart, a lot of heart. And I felt like some of the stuff I was doing, it just felt empty. So I made a huge decision to move away from the Midwest and move to Colorado, and I went to school to study religion and meditation and really prayer and feed kind of the heart that I felt like I was missing. But then I was 6 weeks from ending grad school, and my sponsor, Alicia, had posted a couple of posts, which I'll talk about later, but she really piqued my curiosity, and I jumped into coaching it was a complete heart decision, like had no rationale, to be honest. But I think my heart was like, what am I going to do after I'm done with grad school, because I can't go back to what I was doing. I can't go back to doing something without heart. And what I've found is that Beachbody, despite being named Beachbody, has allowed me this beautiful vessel to let me connect with my heart and body, and to encourage others to do that. And that is my mission. Like, that is my intention, that is my purpose, that is my mission, to integrate mind, heart, and body. Another part of my personal intention is that my husband has such a big, he would love to be a stay-at-home dad, and he'd also love to start a nonprofit that has to do with spiritual direction. So I just think it would be so amazing to give him the gift to do what he wants with his life, because he's been so supportive in this venture for me. But those are, I'm only telling you this so you can, dig deep and figure out your purpose, your why, and who you want to connect to. So I really encourage you to take, 5 or 10 minutes, either at the beginning or that seems to be when our thoughts are the most clear, or the most foggy, and that can be okay too, but to just write, like free association, write what your intention is and what your purpose is, because that is what's going to ground you. Like, that's what's going to bring you home on the days and the weeks and the months that are incredibly difficult. So the second piece of this is that you've got to decide as a new coach, you've got to just decide I'm going to do this. What I've noticed is people who say, I'm going to give this 3 months and see what happens, or, we'll see what happens after my challenge group. The problem with that is that it just kills your business, because this is not a business of instant gratification. And I think that that's a really hard reality when we live in a world where we get instant Facebook notifications and text messages in 30 seconds, and we get really mad if our computers don't load up or our internet goes out for 2 minutes, It's really hard to live in a world where we get things so quickly, and then to have a business that relies on planting seeds and relies on you giving, these seeds that you plant, these invites that you put out, these posts that you put up to blossom. It's so frustrating. But that's part of the reason and part of the beauty of this business, that you have to just decide that you're going to do this. And that doesn't mean giving this, 24-hour-a-day attention. It means being really smart and efficient with your time and absolutely moving at your own pace. But, if you're half in and half out, people can smell that. And you can feel it. And you're going to be hesitant about building a team of your own or running solid challenge groups, because you're not going to feel fully in this. So something to recognize is that most people starting a business go into, serious debt and hope to make it out of that. Like, very few people who start a business make money in the first year. We have the opportunity to do that because like marketing support, and we have, customer service behind us. So, when you're starting out, I would suggest planting seeds by running your 7-day challenge right away. So we're going to talk about that at the very end of this call, but I think that something that's funny is where we always hear, people are watching you. And I feel like my relationship with my sponsor coach is a prime example of that. I was the creeper that was watching her, never commenting or never liking. She put up her first post about a 7-day clean eating challenge. And I thought, oh, what's she up to? Like, why didn't I think of that? Like, what's she doing? And then a few weeks later, she put up a post about a 21-day group. And I was like, wow, she's really going for this. And finally, it was her third post that she put up about how she had found a job that she loved that served other people. And that's what hit me. But had she not planted the other seeds, and she wasn't even trying to do that, she was organizing challenge groups. But for me, that was her planting seeds, and I was able to kind of see what she was up to. Of course, I didn't contact her right away, and I didn't comment on that post. I waited, a week and a half, and then I finally reached out to her. But just to know that when you decide to go all in, you'll be able to post more authentically, and you'll be able to share your journey with more kind of passionate fire behind that, which people can feel, and that's very important. The third piece of your mindset is to throw comparisons out the window. And I'm so serious about this. Sarah said on a webinar a couple weeks ago that comparison is the thief of joy. And oh my goodness, it's so true. It's such a poison. It's completely true that we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but we all have different lives and different priorities and different things that we need to focus on, and we also have just different learning curves. So if I were to compare myself to somebody else who has been in this for a year and who has a much higher rank than me, I feel like that would be putting this, just poison all over this fire that I have to help other people. So while it is important to learn from people and to see what is working and be honest about what is not, to compare yourself is just unfair. I mean, it's unfair unless you're going to recognize all of life's factors. So, put your blinders on in that sense, and don't compare yourself as you move through your first month and your first year. Rank advancements are important for many reasons, but they also don't reflect everything that's going on and everything that's percolating in your world and in your business. You also, this could be the most important point behind intention. My fourth point, you don't need to know everything. So again, I feel like I'm a firstborn. I'm a perfectionist. I'm like a secret competitive maniac. You should see me play games to my husband. But we sometimes the need for perfection and the need to, or the desire to give people, the best challenge group experience, or to welcome people onto your team with all of your time and attention, it paralyzes us from actually acting or from actually doing anything. So, keep in mind that some of the top coaches don't have any upline support. And some of the top coaches started before the Emerald to Diamond groups were popular, or the new coach mentorship groups even. So all of this is entirely possible for you to do and for you to learn as you go along, again, as long as you have that intention. So for people who just right away pick it up and know what to do and run these amazing challenge groups and sell 30 challenge packs, in their first month, when they do that without intention, or I should say, if I were to do that without intention, your business would eventually become empty. You'd reach a point where you're like, what am I doing this for? And similarly, if we only have intention and we're just waiting to be perfect, our goals just become pipe dreams and we're not able to help anybody. So you need to have a balance of, we could say, intention and courage to just jump in, just jump into talking to people about living a more balanced life, about talking to people about your purpose and your goal for building this life that involves giving other people financial freedom, or whatever your goals are. And the last kind of abstract thing that I want to say is to just be thirsty. Be thirsty and passionate. So thirsty for the information. Get excited about personal development. We have an amazing. Oh, this is such an amazing opportunity in the National Wake Up Call this morning. Micah Folsom talked about the 3 vital behaviors and how just bizarre it is that is our job. I mean, our job is to live in a healthy way, to talk to people about living in a way that meets their ideals and their goals, and to grow, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of it. So, get thirsty to learn more about that and to learn more about sharing that and get really passionate about it, because that's when it doesn't feel like work. Like, that's when the learning is actually amazing and fun. So with all of those kind of maybe heady, abstract ideas about mindset, 3 concrete things that I'd like to share with you to do in your first month as a coach, even your first couple of weeks. The first is to connect with your sponsor to set up a plan for your first 2 months as a coach at least, because action really, really does help dissolve the fears. And acknowledgement of, say, I'm afraid of this, and talk to your sponsor about that. I remember saying to Alicia, yeah, I'll try this 7-day clean eating thing, but I just don't think that anybody, in my friends network will be interested. And 50 people joined. Had I let that fear overwhelm me, I mean, my life would be so different, and other people would not have had the opportunity we wouldn't have had an opportunity to interact with each other. So rather than letting your fear drive you, go straight into that fear and talk about it with your sponsor, and then set up a plan. So set up little things that you can do every day to bring yourself into running your first challenge group, or bring yourself into, co-leading a challenge group with your sponsor. The second action step to take, and this will be a little more in-depth, is to rethink your presence on social media. So a good place to start is actually, before you post a thing, is to think about what you have been, who you have been. So there's no shame in any of these examples, but if you're somebody who talks a lot about partying, or a lot about eating a lot of pizza and ice cream, junk food or something, or if you're like me who didn't post at all, you want to recognize that and then gradually move in to sharing your journey, gradually. So I started posting maybe 1 or 2 times a day. I thought 3 or 4 times a day would be insane, and I thought, it would be even more insane when we're posting selfies, and then here I am, I feel like sharing a selfie a day, so you just never know where this will take you. But if you've been posting a lot about, let's use partying as an example, use that for your journey. So you don't need to be ashamed of your past, but to start to share, a shift that you would like to make, or that you'd like to find more balance, or however you decide to connect with who you've been and who you would like to present yourself as. Have a link there, have a bridge, because it's really strange when somebody all of a sudden is like, yeah, I was, talking about how much food I ate last weekend, and now I'm a health coach. It's not congruent, it doesn't make sense, and it probably doesn't feel too authentic. So allow yourself to ease into the social media world, and there are so many webinars and calls on social media, so do some research if that's an area that you're feeling uncomfortable in. Start sprinkling breadcrumbs, so little tidbits about how you'd like to live a healthier lifestyle, but definitely get yourself out there. Definitely start sharing more of your life, give a window into your life, and not just your fitness life, as much of your life as you are comfortable sharing, because, when people buy challenge packs, they could get the challenge packs off of the internet, off of infomercials, but when they buy them from you and join your challenge group, they're joining you because they trust you. And people are more likely to trust you, especially people who don't know you so well, if they feel like they know you, and we have the platform of social media through which we can share ourselves, it's both scary and a blessing, I think. So you want to start adding value and start sharing yourself sharing yourself out there on Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media platform you choose to build your business on. So the third piece, and then I'll open it up for questions. I know this is going a little long, is to set a date for your 7-day clean eating challenge. And there are a couple of very, very strong reasons why this is so important. One of them is that you're planting seeds. So like I said, when I ran my first clean eating group, 50 people joined, which was super exciting. And I feel like you would never guess how many joined my 21-day challenge group because the number is 0. 0 people joined my challenge group from my clean eating group after that. So I ran a 21-day group the following maybe 2 weeks after my first clean eating group. Other people joined. So I had planted the seeds, by putting up posts about the 7-day challenge, but nobody from that first clean eating group. But the magic of that is that 20 of them, so almost half, not quite half, have either become coaches or have later joined my longer 21 or 30-day challenge groups. 20 out of 50, that's pretty amazing, but it happened over the course of a year because not everybody is ready to move forward, with a healthier lifestyle at the same pace. And had I not planted those seeds, those, 20 people would be absent from my life right now. So starting your 7-day challenge is important for that purpose, but then you're also able to immediately see who you're attracting. So you're immediately able to have kind of a glimpse into what Chalene Johnson calls your tribe, or building your own dream team. You're able to see who already connects with you and then build from there. These people could also be great referrals to have, and generally are your kind of supportive cheerleaders along the way, is what I've found. It also feels so freaking good to give away something for free. I think a lot of us get into coaching because we want to help people, and we get very uncomfortable about money and about asking people for money to be in our challenge group. So this is a great way to provide anybody and everybody something for free, and to give them, valuable menus, valuable posts, and a piece of your heart, like a window into your personal intention and why having a longer relationship with you or a longer journey with you would be beneficial for them. It also helps you to build confidence. It was the first time I didn't know you could make a Facebook group. That's how far behind Facebook I was. So it gives you confidence to build those things and to know that you are capable of leading a group of friends and strangers. And that 7-day group for me was probably the most powerful experience I had in my first 6 months of coaching, because I felt shifted after that. It was really neat. And finally, you're able to add value, which helps, like I said, helps people see why a longer challenge group with you would be worth the money that the challenge pack costs and worth the experience and the time and energy. So I know that was a lot. I know that was so much. So if anyone, I'm going to try to unmute the line right now. But while my internet has been funky all day. But while I'm unmuting us, let me just say that the biggest thing that I want you to take away is to return over and over and over again to your purpose, your heart, your intention, however you want to word that. And some people have to make it bigger than themselves, so talking about their family or talking about the people they want to connect with. And other people, it can be completely about, paying off the mounds of debt that you have, or getting out of a job that you hate. So, if you do nothing else after this call, take just 5 minutes to write out your intention without thinking too much, just free association writing, because I think that you'll be amazed at what can come out of that and the power of putting your intention onto paper. So let me unmute you, and if anyone has any questions. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or anything that I spoke too fast or mumbled through? Anything that anyone is super afraid of or knew that they were afraid of when they started as a new coach? No fears. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for hopping on. If you want to ask any questions later on, post them in the Fit Forward team page and tag me, and then we can, keep a conversation going. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure that's recorded, so I'll post the recording later on tonight. But I'll ask just one more time. No questions? All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a great night, and the recording will be up later.